Today, I'm going to multitask, and I'll show you why. This is why. So, since I got the day off because of the snow, I figured, why don't we do a video and work out at the same time? So, you're going to get my thoughts on the USFL logos, and you get to see a little bit of me working out. Don't hold your breath. Nothing impressive happening here. All right, let's get to it. What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again. And listen, if it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Now, you know I give you that thumbs up at the end of every video, and I'd appreciate it if you give me one down there as well. You know, every like and every subscribe definitely helps out the channel. And speaking of helping out the channel, let me know down in the comments section. Do you work out? Do you like to do cardio? Do you like to run? Do you like to lift weights? Are you a strength trainer? Do you bodybuild? Do you just like to stay in shape? I don't know, but let me know down in the comment section. And two, if you got any suggestions, I'd love to hear it when it comes to that. All right, guys, let's get back into the video. Listen, if you were to ask me, I think that the logos, they're weak sauce. And one of two things really happened here. It's either they were going for nostalgia and wanted to have that with it, or they were just being lazy and didn't want to have to put a lot of time and effort into doing the whole rebrand and all of that with it. It's either they were going with nostalgia or they were being lazy. I'm going to go with they were lazily nostalgic. Listen, I mean, come on, with the color schemes, it's a bit ridiculous. You have no green in there whatsoever. Literally, no team has any green. You have 8 teams and no teams have any green in them. And if you want to go with it, 6 of them have true red, hue, red colors as one of their primary colors. And really, if you want to look at it, 7 of them do. I mean, the Maulers, yeah, it's purple and orange, but you could make an argument that both of those fall on the spectrum for red. So, I mean, when you get down to it, 7 of the teams have red in their color. I don't know why you just didn't add red into the breakers. It doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, like I said before, it's probably that lazy nostalgia. So, overall, I would say okay. Not great. They are growing on me, to say the least. When I first started out, I would say that I would have given them probably like a 74. I'm probably somewhere right now up to like an 82 out of 100 with it. It just, like I said, like I like them, the nostalgia of it all. I like that with it. I just wish they would have kind of tweaked things a little bit more, instead of, just seems like it's like what, George Lucas did with the Star Wars movies back in the 90s. That's just what it feels like. Just enough to add a little dimension to the background is pretty much what they did. Like I said, sharpen things up so that when you look at it high res, you don't get that distortion in it. And just kind of clean up the colors a little bit with it. Change the hues just slightly here and there. That's just kind of my thoughts with it. So, all in all, I guess I'd give it an 82 out of 100. Give it a B. If it wasn't for, that in the back of my head thinking it was lazy, I might give it a little bit better. But, there you have it. Now that you got my initial thoughts out of the way and my overall general opinion of all of the logos, step into my classroom and we are going to give each one of these an individual grade. And listen, I'm not a mean teacher. I don't hate my students. And you know what? I kind of look at life as a glass half full, not empty. So we're not giving anybody a terrible grade here, but there are some that are definitely going to be lower than the others. And as always, we're going to start with the bottom and work our way to the top. Starting out at the bottom, we've got the stars. Listen, it's outdated. It just is. And it reminds me of when you look back at the 80s, everything that you want to forget about the 80s. And they really didn't update anything really that well. The color scheme it just screams bad 80s. The font, the logo, everything. And that's why it gets a C- from me. And let's keep rolling with these C's here. Now, we've got one that falls in with a solid C. And the Generals get a solid C because they clean things up with the General logo. It was a bit busy. They've kind of sleeked it a little bit. But they didn't do a whole lot with it here. So there's not really a lot going on with it. It still is just So you get a C. You didn't do a bad job, but you really didn't do a good job either. You just kind of showed up, and that's kind of what I feel like with the Generals. Now, moving on to the top tier of the C's, though, and that's the Houston Gamblers. And listen, the Gamblers have kind of got this unique thing, and it's definitely nostalgic. People remember it because of its uniqueness. But listen, that uniqueness isn't going to get you into the B's. What it's going to get you is a plus, and we're going to end up with a C+ here because you were able to fit, the state of Texas in, which is a huge thing to do. Listen, everything's bigger in Texas. You're able to fit it into your logo and also star the location of Houston, which is all very clever, very cool. Get it into that G. I do like that. But listen, it's dated, and you're going to get a plus for it, so you're C+. Now that we're through the C's, let's go ahead and let's move on to the B's. And we've got 3 B's, and starting out with the B-, we have the Stallions. Not that it's a bad-looking logo, and listen, I like the fact that they really updated the logo. This is one of the few logos that they actually kind of gave it a modern twist. But listen, this is a logo that we've seen time and time again from a lot of different teams, and it really doesn't have anything new to it. It's got very sleek lines. It's got a modern type of look. I like that they updated the colors a little bit with it, and that's what gets you into the B's, but it's just generic, and that gives you a B-. You definitely put some work and some effort in here, but it left me a little lacking, and that's where the minus comes in. Let's move to the B's, and a solid B is the Pittsburgh Maulers. And listen, I had a hard time figuring out what a mauler has to do with a steel worker and Steelers. And listen, this is kind of one of those where if we didn't have the Steelers and it wasn't kind of this playoff for the Steelers type of thing, you probably would have got a better grade than that. But a B is a solid grade because you put in a solid effort. And I will have to say, this is pretty much the first team on our list that doesn't have a solid red hue. Now, granted, it's got a lot of reds in there with the orange and with the purple, or indigo bluish. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely looks it's got a purple kind of a vibe to me with it. But I guess the whole idea with the mauling is they're going to maul you with a hammer. And, okay, I'll step back. I'm not going to give you a B-. I'm going to give you a B. So don't drop the hammer on me with it. And to round out the B's, we're going to go with a B+ on the Breakers. And the reason why the Breakers get a B+ is because they didn't use red. They're the only team that stayed away from red, and they've got all cool colors. I like the logo that they're doing there. It definitely pays homage to New Orleans and, the whole community that they have there and what their community is built around. I think that that's pretty cool. The logo is definitely different than what you see today. This is one of those things that you bring out of the 80s. This is a logo that definitely, is the good stuff that you remember out of the 80s. And, I'm a sucker for cool colors. So that's where they get the plus with it. This is probably one of the better ones. Definitely. And that's why it falls in with a B+. Now, these two are going to be our next ones. These are the A's. They will finish things out. And it was really, really tough for me because, I like both of them for very different reasons. But listen, somebody's got to get a better grade than the other. And the A- is going to go to the Tampa Bay Bandits. And, the Bandits, I don't know, it's definitely a play off of the Buccaneers, and I think you're going to get a minus for, some of the stuff there. I kind of am a fan of the logo. I like the logo. It'll be interesting to see how they use secondary logos with this and how they do, the whole branding with the uniform and stuff like that, because I think that they could really take it up a notch with that. I like the lettering of the Bandits, and I know that that's kind of a dated 2000s type of a thing, but it still harkens for me with that. I like it. I think that it's a cool look with it. Like I said, the minus comes from the the playoff of the NFL team, but all in all, it's a solid looking logo. I could give it to you. It's a bit dated. The colors are definitely a solid color scheme and something you can do a lot with. And then to round things out is the Michigan Panthers. And I don't know, maybe it's probably just because there's actually going to be a team when they finally do play in their home stadium that's going to be, close within driving distance of me to go to. So I think that would be pretty cool, but that's not the only reason. I like the color scheme. It's something you don't see every day. The logo, yes, Panthers is kind of a generic type of a thing, but the twist that they put on the Panthers I think is pretty cool. Actually, to me, it really harkens back to the Thundercats. I was a huge Thundercats fan so I had to do that. But back in the day, I was a huge Thundercats fan, and that's what made it a solid A for me, is that it's somewhere around me. Now, it's hard for me being a Buckeye to say, that word, but the Michigan Panthers, I think they've got a cool-looking logo. Their color scheme is definitely one of those things to bring out of the 80s. It's definitely 80s, but it's good 80s. The logo, I like that they sharpen things up. I like the sleek, but sharp edges with it. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of Thundercats, and I think that that's really cool. It would be really awesome to me, actually, if they did name a team Thundercats and actually did that. I would be pretty excited, super excited with that. But all in all, there you go. Those are my final grades for all of the teams, and hopefully you liked them. If not, let me know down in the comment section. I always want to know your thoughts, and we can continue the conversation on down there. All right, listen, guys, I know that you're busy, and I know that I'm busy, so let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.